We'd like to begin our May 16th council meeting. Council meeting? Councilman Brannigan, would you lead us in the invocation?
Let us bow our heads and remember we're in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, as we gather here, we come to you with humble hearts, asking for your wisdom and guidance this evening. We want to pray in a special way for those members of our community who are in graduating classes, whether it's kindergarten or grammar school and high schools and colleges, that we pray for their families and their celebrations and for their futures. We want to pray also, next week being Memorial Day, to memorialize all of those who have gone before us in serving our country. Thank you for the great gift of sacrifice that they made for all of us, and we pray for their families as they're reminded of their loss at this time each year. We also want to pray for Monty Roser. He was a longtime Kenner resident and businessman, Roser's Cleaners, who passed away. We pray for him, his soul, and for his whole family who is still grieving their loss. And for the son of retired Kenner fireman Phil Bates, that you be with their family as they grieve their loss. For these things and all your greatness, we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Reyno, would you lead us in the pledge?
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum this evening. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B 14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Madam Chairman, this evening I received a request to amend the agenda to include item 16N, an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of parcel D4A6-1 into parcels D4A6A and D4A6B, Highway Park subdivision, Kenner, Louisiana.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Brannigan, second by Councilman Black, to suspend the council rules. All members vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0.
We have a motion by Councilman Brannigan, second by Councilman Black, to amend the agenda to include item 16N. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to object to the placement of this on the agenda? If they do, please come forward. Hearing none, all councilmen please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. The consent agenda this evening is item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of May 2nd, 2013. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. Item 2A is a resolution granting an alcoholic beverage permit to Celebración Hispania de Kenner, incorporated on June 15, 2013 at Lake Town, West Peninsula, Kenner, Louisiana. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 1753-13, T.J. Lee to hold a public gathering for a block party on June 8, 2013 from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the 4900 block of Janice Avenue. Item 4 is correspondence reports from the mayor, CAO, and department heads. We have none. Item 5 is acceptance, rejection of bids requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. Item 5A is a resolution accepting the responsive bid received from Richard Reams Trophy Company in the amount of $2,911 to furnish 2 bronze plaques for the George Dragon Memorial Field at Wentwood Playground in accordance with telephone bid number T13-2026 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 6 is change orders requiring an expenditure of less than $5,000. We have none. Item 7 is acceptance of committee findings for final passage. We have none. Item 8 is re-subdivision ordinances for final passage. We have none.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Brannigan, second by Councilman Black for approval. Please vote.
Two more votes, please. Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda this evening, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 11,536. An ordinance authorizing a public hearing and approving the proposed fiscal year 2013 annual action plan of the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program in the amount of $411,019 and the Home Investment Partnership Home Program grant in the amount of $143,645 for the Community Development Department.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilwoman Brannigan to open the public hearing. Please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0.
We are now in a public hearing to discuss summary ordinance number 11,536. Anyone that wishes to address this matter, please come forward. Mr. Rell?
Yes. Good evening. This is our annual entitlement grant that we received from HUD through the Community Development Block Grant Program. And as was read by the council clerk, we've applied for $411,000. And the home monies, we're part of course, the Jefferson Parish Home Consortium, which includes Jefferson Parish, Kenner, and St. Charles. And those dollars assist us in doing affordable housing projects. We detailed and published in the newspaper as required the planned activities that we have with these funds, so I ask the council's approval, and I'm here to answer any questions. I do want to make everyone aware that as early as today, I contact HUD to see if our final allocation figures have been, determined from Washington, and they have not. They basically assured me that Congress had adopted a continuing resolution back in March, but that the Office of Budget and Management was still working on getting those figures to us, and we should get final numbers within 3 weeks or so. So when those final numbers come, I may have to come back with some little minor amendments to make the final allocation match what was been proposed. But aside from that, this is the activities, and we don't anticipate any major changes with that final amount.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Rell. Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Madam President, and thanks for that information, Mr. Rell. Also, since we're talking about the CBDG, earlier during the,
Excuse me, Councilman Carroll, would you like to wait until after we close, or did you want to just?
no,
You wanted
this
to-
will be fine, yeah. We had talked about some housekeeping issues that we wanted to get on top of, in front of, because of the concerns that we had about monies lingering, and no longer will we have the luxury of doing it. Are we moving in the right direction to make sure that we are fixing
Right.
this situation?
Our plans are to implement more housing programs. Just recently, my staff have prepared letters to send to contractors that were on the community development approved contractors list in the past, just getting updated information, and we're finalizing, the application processes for those programs. So yes, we are moving forward.
Do we have a time frame, a schedule that we need to adhere to for this, or it's based on
Well,
our next approved budget and it starts there, or?
Well, as a general rule, whenever we're awarded money, you basically now being given 18 months to spend that money. So with this money and with the implementation of the housing programs, when I stand before you next year, I would be hoping that some have been completed and we just have a few more that we would have to address, because at that point, we will be at the 12-month timeline, and we would have about 6 more months before we get into a problem with having to have money recaptured.
Okay, thank you.
About 18 months is the general rule.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome. We have a motion to close by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilwoman Brannigan. Please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0.
Motion to approve by Councilman Carroll, second by Councilwoman Brannigan. Please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 530, an ordinance amending Section 15-21 of the Kenner Code of Ordinances to add a stop sign southbound at the intersection of Rue St. Peter and Champalisses.
Motion by Councilman Denopoulos, second by Councilwoman DeFrancis. Councilman Denopoulos, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this has just been a situation that has been plaguing Place Pontchartrain and the concern they have for the safety of the kids in the neighborhood. And I would also like to include this documentation from the Place Pontchartrain Civic Association as well. Into the record, please. Once again, urging the council to approve the stop sign at this location. I personally do not live in Place Pontchartrain, but I have to rely on both the council, both the president of Civic Association and the residents in there that, this is something that they are concerned about. This is a need that they're requesting. And once again, they outline it very clearly that they're concerned about the children in the neighborhood and their safety at this area. So I would just like this council to vote and unanimously put this stop sign at that location. Thank you. And there's support documentation as well submitted, but I just want to submit this as well.
Thank you, Councilman Denopoulos. Hearing no other discussion, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members.
We have
We have none. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda.
We have none.
Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 11,531, an ordinance authorizing an increase of $50,000 per year to the maximum annual contract amount for the contract with Brotherhood Way General Contractors, LLC, to provide labor only for carpentry work at various facilities on an as-needed basis for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Motion by Councilwoman DeFrancis, second by Councilman Reyno.
It would be obvious. Wait, let me see.
Councilman, did you wish to have, Mr. Maracoli, did you wish to speak?
No, I'm sure there'll be some questions, so.
Okay, Councilwoman DeFrancis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted Mr. Maracoli to explain this because I had some qualms, and I'll be honest with you, when I read the ordinance because of the amount that we were increasing it from $20,000. And when you look at the first contract that was issued, it was $20,000. That's all you needed was $20,000. And then there was an increase after that first year. And when you and I spoke about it a few minutes ago, you explained why those increases took place. But this one seems to be a substantial increase as well, when again, we're looking at a possible need originally of $20,000. And you explained that to me, and I think we need to put it on the record so that the other council members, as well as the people, our constituents, understand why there's such a discrepancy between the 20,000, and the 110. So, Mr. Maracoli, you have the floor.
All right, basically what happened was the first year when we originally started this process, we went out for a carpentry bid for $20,000 because we were gonna have just minor, carpentry work and repairs. So once we got them into the system, this was the first time that we, as a recreation department, had implemented any kind of contract like this. So we were really kind of feeling out the process to see exactly what kind of work they do, what kind of things they can help us with. As we started going through the process, we realized that there was a lot more that we had that they could benefit us in getting some of these repairs at these parks, some new construction being built, like at the little press boxes and some of them areas. So that was the reason why we had the first increase, because once we realized the vast array of knowledge that this company had, we were able to utilize them, and we utilized them a lot more than we anticipated originally. This year, we basically, this is the third year of the contract. We've already gone through 2 renewals with this company. This is the third year and the final year of the renewal. The reason why this is such a large increase is because we have been using this contract, as everybody knows, with the OMV. We've been doing some reconstruction and redoing that. We utilize this contract at the OMV to get, basically rebuild the building there, refurbish it the way we needed to. We have reached the limit of the cap at $60,000. Our department was basically content with saying that that was good, and we didn't need any further, and we were going to just allow the contract to go. It expires in December, and allow it to go out. Since then, Public Works had come to me and said that they had an issue with their contractor, that they no longer have a contract with them, and they needed to utilize this contract to do some works that in their department that they had. So they requested that we would up the cap on that, and that's the reason why this amount. I think between Jose and myself, we have this contract through December, and, based on what we were talking about and the kind of work that needs to be done, we believe that this is the reason for that increase with what they need to do and what we need to do, that it would be sufficient. And to be honest, 50 may be a little high, but we would rather not have to come back in say August or October to say, can we get 10,000 more or this, that, and the other. So that's the reason how it progressed from such a small amount originally in the first year. Again, this is the third year of the contract. So as we've been dealing with this contract, we've realized, the professionalism that they have and the things that they can accomplish, that we wanted to utilize them. And what it does also is it takes some of the burden off of our personnel while we're doing one thing, they're on another project, and they're more or less it's outsourcing some of the work so that it gets done a little bit quicker for these parks too. So.
And you believed that the quality of the work that they did as well as the cost per job was actually a very good price?
Correct. This is a per hour contract.
Okay.
So,
I wanted to get some more information.
Right. This is an hourly contract for labor only. Matter of fact, we purchase all the materials. This is a labor only contract. This is just us trying to get somebody to come in there. The price that we have is a really good price for this type of contract. Matter of fact, when we bid this out originally, I believe there was like 3 or 4 different bidders, and they were the low bidder and came in. And again, the work that they do is quality work, and so it really has been a benefit to our department. And again, we're hoping to allow the other departments to be able to utilize it so that they could do the work that they need to get done.
Well, and that's why I want to put it on the record that it was quality work at a good price, and it was a per-hour rate,
I
as you
think
said.
Mr. Quigley would like to.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that one of the reasons why we asked the Recreation Department to increase the cap is because we have a job at fire headquarters where the district chiefs and the assistant chiefs sleep, their sleeping quarters, that requires us to go in there and do some renovations. And I know Jerry has already purchased materials and everything, and all we've been doing is waiting for this cap to increase so we could get these carpenters to get in there. But this is a lot of it. I think almost 20,000 of it is for fire headquarters, for the sleeping quarters for both the district and the assistant chiefs. And it's important that we get their sleeping quarters up to snuff.
And the other question I posed a little while ago was, because the heading says on an as-needed basis for the Department of Parks and Recreation, my other question to you was, because that is the heading, is that a problem for us as a council in increasing this amount to allow it to be used in other departments? And you assured me it wasn't.
Right. No, whenever, and a lot of the contracts, matter of fact, there's several contracts that Public Works has that's in their name that we utilize on a regular basis. Basically, once the contract is awarded, the entire city any department within the city can utilize it. What we do is that we're the ones that are more or less monitoring that contract and that cap. So that's the reason why it specifically reads for us, but it is definitely available. Matter of fact, I know Arleta Terrell with Community Development has used it in the past, and other departments have used it. And likewise, like I said, we utilize Public Works contracts all the time, and so it is able to be utilized by several different departments.
And just to put it on the record, Mr. Conley, you don't have a problem with that either. Is that not correct? Well, we just wanted to make sure we had all of that on the record. Thank you very much, Mr. Miracoli, for answering those questions before for me as well as on the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President.
Councilman Stagney.
Thank you, Madam President. I, too, talked to Mr. Miracoli earlier today, and I just have, in addition to the questions that's already been asked, I have one other question. For the additional $50,000 that you're requesting, has any of the work already been performed, and/or has finance already issued payment on any of the requested amount of money?
No, not on the money that we're coming to you asking for the additional cap. None of that has been allocated. The work hasn't been assigned. nothing to that nature. As Mr. Quigley said, we're just waiting on the contract to be put in place for them to be able to start the work.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other discussion, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 11,532, an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from BLD Services LLC in the amount of $1,128,890 for the Vintage and Medoc Force Main project in accordance with seal bid number 12-6104 for the Department of Public Works.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman DeFrancis, second by Councilwoman Brannigan. Any discussion? Councilwoman DeFrancis.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Council President. Excuse me, would our purchasing director please step up for a moment? Thank you. I hope you don't mind. We spoke earlier, but again, sometimes it's good to get things on the record so people understand why a particular contract is being accepted as opposed to another. When we looked at this, and you and I spoke about it, there were two that were very, low bids, of course, compared to some of the others, and that was BLD and Fleming Construction. I'll speak a little louder, in Fleming Construction. And when we talked about it, we went over why Fleming, even though it was slightly lower. The reasons are given, but again, just to put it on the record so people know why we accepted BLD over Fleming, which was, again, slightly lower. Would you please, for the benefit of the, of the council, go over it with them?
Come back.
It's on page, well, it's over there.
I can answer that question,
Oh,
unless you want to answer the question.
we went over it. I just assumed she might want to.
Speak up.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on, Teresa. Yes.
I can't hear you.
Who are you, winking, blinking, and nod? You're on.
It's
Your
on.
microphone's on.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I get feedback with my hearing aid, so. Okay, they were declared, they got a letter that's attached to the back of the ordinance.
Right.
From Digital Engineering explaining why they chose BLD. Fleming's Construction did not use the replacement bid form that was issued in addendum number 1. Digital had put out an addendum, which they had to replace a bid form, part of the bid form. You have to use that when it's put in addendum. Fleming did not use that, so that declared them non-responsive. They didn't do the e-affidavit employment verification, which is mandated by the state, and they didn't acknowledge the receipt of addendum number 1, and you have to do that according to public bid law.
So basically, they didn't comply with the bid specs.
Right. They didn't comply with the addendum is what it is.
And my question to you about the addendum was, are they required, even though we have the bid specs and everything else, when Digital sent them that addendum and they did not, for whatever reason, use that addendum, that made them non-responsive according to the regulations that,
Yes.
and I was very careful about that because I was curious because it was Digital that sent out the addendum and I spoke to you about that.
Right.
Whether that
Digital
was
sends it
sufficient.
out, right, and they have to respond to that addendum.
Thank you very much.
Is there any time frame in which they're going to complete this bridge? Did they give a time frame, or was that in the contract?
Yes. There's a contract time stipulated in the specs. I don't remember what the time frame is, but once this ordinance is adopted,
How long?
okay, the next step is for us to enter into a contract with a contractor, and then we'll issue a notice to proceed. So I predict that they will be working on this project probably within a month and a half or so, just around the time that we will be finished with the path to progress work that's going on out there with the roadway.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no other discussion, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 11,533, An ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Centos Corporation Number 2 for an annual contract to lease uniforms in accordance with seal bid number 13-6133 and an amount not to exceed $20,000 per year for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilman Stagney, second by Councilman Brannigan.
Madam Chairman, this evening we've received a request to indefinitely defer this item.
Okay. Councilman Stagney, did you wish to speak on the deferral? Oh, because the motion is for indefinite deferral by Councilman Stagney and second by Councilwoman Brannigan.
Thank you.
Kind of jumped the gun on that. All right, if there's no discussion, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0 for an indefinite deferral. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 11,534, an ordinance accepting the quote in the amount of $5,700 from River Country Rescue, a sole source provider, to purchase the Hearst Cutter JL500, an essential piece of equipment needed to perform vehicle extrication for the Kenner Fire Department.
Motion by Councilman Denopoulos, second by Councilman DeFrancis. Please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 11,535, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Peretz on an annual contract to supply polo-style sleeve shirts in accordance with telephone bid number T13-2000 and an amount not to exceed $6,500 annually for the Kenner Police Department.
Motion by Councilman Stagney, second by Councilwoman Brannigan. Please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance adopting the capital budget for the City of Kenner for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2014. Item 16B is an ordinance authorizing a public hearing to approve an amendment to the 2011-2012 capital budget to reallocate $115,000 from the Westgate Drainage Improvement Project to the Bertha Lee Jackson Basketball Court Enhancement Project for the Department of Community Development. Item 16C is an ordinance authorizing a cooperative purchasing agreement with Genuine Parts Company, doing business as Napa, for the purchase of automotive parts on an as-needed basis in accordance with Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office bid number 13B2201 and an amount not to exceed $150,000 annually for the Department of Fleet Management. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Riddle All-American in the amount of $9,719.32 to purchase football equipment and uniforms for the 2013 season in accordance with telephone bid number T13-2016 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from New Arrow Industries Incorporated, doing business as Arrow Fence, in the amount of $5,390 to furnish and install white vinyl privacy fencing at Seton Park on the corner of St. Elizabeth and Platt Streets in accordance with telephone bid number T13-2029 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16F is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from B&H Photo, Video, and Pro Audio Incorporated in the amount of $6,183.95 for the purchase of an HD camera and memory recording unit and a multi-format LCD monitor for Kenner TV in accordance with the telephone bid T13-2031 for the Department of Information Technology and Telecommunications. Item 16G is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of MSA Product Evolution 5800 thermal imaging camera with X2 zoom and MSA vehicle charging kit 5000 series from Casco Industries Incorporated in the amount of $11,448.46, utilizing the City of New Orleans Material and Supply Agreement K12-714 with Casco Industries Incorporated. City bid proposal 2510-00541 for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the responsibility received from Red Hawk Fire and Security in the amount of $9,975 to furnish and install a fire alarm system at the City of Kenner-owned facility located at 421 Williams Boulevard in accordance with telephone bid number T13-2030 for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Item 16I is an ordinance ratifying the proposal from Ace American Insurance Company with an AM Best rating of A+ XV for commercial package liability insurance at a cost not to exceed $348,046 for the period of July 1st, 2013 through July 1st, 2014. Item 16J is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Messina's Incorporated for an annual contract to supply prisoner meals for the Kenner Police Department in accordance with seal bid number 12-6118 at a cost not to exceed $125,000 annually and providing for related matters. Item 16K is an ordinance authorizing a third addendum to the lease agreement between the City of Kenner and Davy Mike Incorporated for lease of a portion of the Gordon Street right-of-way situated south of West Airline Drive between Square 11 of Oakland Plantation Subdivision and Square 12 of Hanson City Subdivision, Kenner, Louisiana, and providing for related matters. Item 16L is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of Lot 19A, Square 9, Beach View Heights, Kenner, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, as well as a portion of property adjacent to said Lot 19A. Item 16M is an ordinance authorizing an increase in the maximum contract amount of the annual contract with Retief Oil and Fuel LLC regarding fuel purchases to an amount not to exceed $510,000 per year to provide for related matters for the Department of Fleet Management. Item 16N is an ordinance approving the plan of re-subdivision of parcels D4, A6, 1 into parcels D4, A6A, and D4, A6B, Highway Park Subdivision, Kenner, Louisiana. Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
We have a few, I think. First of all, it's with great pride that I announce that, as per a press release by the mayor, that Standard & Poor's has assigned to the city of Kenner an A+ rating on the Kenner bond issues. This is great news because of the high rating. The city may not have to provide a debt service refund with cash from the bond issue. That means about $3 million or more could be available on top of the $29 million that we are requesting for additional capital projects. And I think that we have many of us up here want to share that, but I know of at least three districts who will be getting a large majority of this. So I'm very proud of the fact that we are doing the right thing. We've been known as a conservative city, but they know that we're doing the right thing in regards to the bond refinancing, and some of these projects that we want to get done will be, some added projects will be done because of the extra $3 million that we, in receiving this A+ rating. There's only a few others that have better than that, and they are not municipalities. So we're to be patted on the back. We did some good stuff, and we're being recognized for it. Councilman Denopoulos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to also announce that the Denopoulos family actually had an event today. My youngest daughter, Kimberly Denopoulos, graduated BSN, Bachelor of Science Nursing, from LSU Medical School. So now she may be off my payroll.
Good for you. Good for you, Kent. Also, I neglected to say, and this is very important to the people in District 3, I know, but it's, I think some people of the entire city would really enjoy this. This Sunday, that's May 19th, at Driftwood Country Club, they will be hosting our annual opening crawfish cook-off. We have done this before, and two of the teams have great recipes, and I do believe that this year it will be won by a woman's team who will be led off by Councilwoman Jeannie Black, as opposed to the men's team, which will be headed up by Councilman Keith Reno. I don't care how Cajun you are, I've been cooking a little longer than you have. And it's a fundraiser for the country club. It's $20, and all the crawfish you can eat. I think we've ordered something like 400 pounds of crawfish. We'd love to see you out there from 2 to 6. And it's also to introduce you to our country club, our tennis courts, and our tennis club, and our swim teams. So we'd love to see you. It's at 98 Jelpy Avenue, 94. So we would love to see you and root the teams on. Thank you. Councilman Reno. Councilman Denopoulos, your light is on. Did you wish to say something
Oh,
else?
no, you left it on.
Okay. Councilman Reno.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to remind everybody the Kenner Professional Business Association is having a May luncheon on Tuesday, May 21st at Chateau Golf and Country Club. Doors open at 11:30, meeting starts at 12 to 1:15, and the guest speaker is Michael Hecht from GNO Inc. So I think it'd be a great, a great speaker, great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Reno. Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to, and I hope I don't jinx it, to announce that tomorrow we will attempt to have our first, I believe, Music in the Park. No, this will be the second one. So hopefully the weather cooperates, and I think it will. So, we're not going to jinx it. We're going to have perfect weather tomorrow. Which band, Donna? The Refugees. So there you go. Tomorrow, sit in the park. Music in the Park in Rivertown Heritage Park.
And
Thank you.
are we having a farmer's market?
No, there's Saturday, the movies is on also. Which movie, why don't you get to the mic? Thank you, Mr. Maricola.
No, this is actually, this Saturday, we are having a farmer's market this Saturday in Rivertown. And then Saturday evening will be Wreck-It Ralph in Heritage Park for the movies in the park. There will be a couple old cars out there, I think 4, you said? 4 old cars out there this week, but the following week for Movies in the Park is Grease, and that one will have, we're gonna have an old car show. We want you to come dress up in the old 50s kind of, like some of y'all, when y'all were growing up, y'all regular clothes.
What time, Mr. Maricola, could you
wear my
repeat just for point of information? What time does it start?
The movies start at
You're the one who
8
has the
p.m.
original equipment.
So,
8 p.m., Movies in the Park.
yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilwoman Brannigan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to also say, since we didn't mention them in our prayer, and this week the Senate has marked this as National Police Week, and it's a time to remember and honor all of those first responders, our police department and other first responders who serve our communities. So just wanted to remind everybody that even with the memorial of those who have served our country in the armed services, we certainly don't want to forget and appreciate and honor our first responders in our own communities. And there was something else coming up. Memorial, that's what it was. Thank you. Our Memorial Day service. Ms. Newton, who has the times of when our Memorial Day service is? Do you? Al Morella. 10 o'clock on Thursday, the 23rd. Okay, so that's this coming week out at Veterans Park. Okay, so please come join us.
So
Well, not today, next Thursday. It's next Thursday.
there's a lot of activities that are happening in Kenner, and most of them don't cost you a dime. So if you say you don't have anything to do this weekend or next weekend, that's your problem, because there's a lot of things that you and your families can come out and see us. So we thank you and hope to see you there. Council Clerk?
Item 18 is new business. Item 18A, at the request of the Legal Department, an executive session to discuss matters concerning litigation entitled Progressive Healthcare Providers Louisiana Incorporated versus Kenner City, Louisiana, Civil Action Number 13-0207, United States District Court for the Eastern District of Louisiana.
Motion by Councilman Denopoulos, second by Councilwoman Brannigan. To go into executive session, please vote.
Madam Chairman, motion passes 7-0. Who was it? Denopoulos? You just write, That's all I need. Why was Jay bad there? Oh. Madam Chairman, are you ready? Okay. About 25 minutes. In fact, I might do the next thing, and I might head out. Because it's 6:25. Yes, ma'am. Item 19 is unfinished business and/or motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position.
We have none.
Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Yes. Mr. Al Morello?
That's it.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 41 years. First, I want to respond to some comments that was made in here at the last meeting. And I just want to say this, it's relative to the mishaps that I talked about in here. And I want to say this to Councilwoman DeFrances and Jose Gonzalez here. First of all, once again, it was reaffirmed from some of them comments about what I believe the business climate to be in the city of Kenner, and also that some of the work back here over the years, it reaffirmed what I believe some of the work that we've gotten for our money back here over the years. Now, I want to say this. Last year, I read an article in the Time-Picayune Wednesday, yesterday. Over the years, not over the years, last year, there was much debate about this allowance, this car allowance for the directors. And heavy debate. Some of the citizens come up here and express their opposition to it. Opinions were asked for and received, and the allowances was justified by the administration. Now, after the budget hearings Monday, they saying now they are talking about cutting, getting rid of those allowances. Okay. Also, since we're on the subject of money, I'd like to get an update on the $100,000 from the former County Visitors Bureau. There was either mismanaged or what have you. I know 2 judges last year was going to be assigned to hear this, and they both had to recuse themselves. So I'd like to get an update on what's going on as to how we plan on recovering that money and what we're going to do about it. Also, we had an incident involving the fire chief, $2,900. I'd like to get an update on that, what's going on with that. Now I got a question for my councilman over there, Councilman Denopoulos. 2 years ago, I came down here and I talked about the curbing on East Loyola Drive. You told me that you do a section each year with your capital project money. And it stopped at the 3800 block back 2 years ago, and that's where it is to this day. There's not been any advancement at all on East Loyola Drive with this curbing. Now, I know you've gotten that money with that $50,000 that you invested, and it was a few $1 million that you got, and I'd like to get an update on that. When can I see some curbing start again on East Loyola Drive coming to my way?
Can you wait till he's finished? He's going to answer you. No, let him finish his 3 minutes, okay? He's got about 20 seconds left.
Okay, and in closing, I want to remind all the veterans, we have like I said earlier, we have our Memorial Day service, 10 a.m. next Thursday, Veterans Park. Everybody, all veterans are welcome. All politicians, dignitaries who want to come, Justin Parish, welcome as well. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
You asked a lot of questions, and I don't think that Mr. Denopoulos may have an answer to what is going on in his district, but I for one, can't answer the other questions. I'm gonna have to turn it over to the administration, or if you all have any input, because I have no answers for that.
I have no preference, Ms. Black,
Okay.
on who answers my question.
Ms. Newton, would you?
Anybody's
remove
in here, you
yours?
got 7 of y'all, and you got a whole entire administration sitting in here. Anybody can answer that wants to.
The only thing that I can comment is that's been turned over to legal.
Okay, I was asking you to remove your cue so I could not announce that Councilman Denopoulos needs to address it. Councilman Denopoulos, you're not lit up, so not yet, maybe after the meeting. Okay, Councilman Denopoulos.
Just in answering to you, yes, I have done a city block per year. John, you got your block 2 years ago, and East Loyola got their block last year. We have budget hearings this coming up month, and as soon as I get my new funding, I will do another block, and then your side is next in turn again. I do one aside. I'm sorry, that's what I do, because it's so costly, okay? So, I don't know where you're getting your facts from, but I have done one block per year since I started. And you're in the odd years and you're in the even years. I don't know, but John got his 2 years ago, I believe. John, 2 years ago. And so that meant this past year, East Loyola got one block curbing, and Mr. Jerry Dillenkoffer was the one that graciously gave me that price, and I paid for it, so that you're now going to be coming up for this year to get another block on West Loyola. I have to switch from west to east. Thank you.
And I might add that at the last budget hearings, sidewalks and curbs continue to be an enormous expense that district councilmen cannot afford to even touch the tip of the iceberg with it. So I asked Mr. Gonzalez of Public Works if he would look into some sort of avenues to see if maybe we could get some sort of federal grants, because years ago we used to be able to do that. We're the only municipality that really tries to repair sidewalks without putting it on the burden of the property owner. So we are looking into that further, see if we can come up with something that we won't have to have those enormous costs, because, you get so much for capital improvements, and then that's it. So believe me, with all the street bucklings and everything else, and the sewage and drainage and everything else, sidewalks and curbs are the least of our problems that we have to address. But if we could get a grant in some way, that might help. So is that it, Councilman Denopoulos? Okay, well, you want to remove your cue now? Thank you. And Ms. Newton, would you put yours on? All right, Ms. Newton, you have the floor.
I just wanted to remind residents, we've been doing advertisements regarding our community listening sessions in conjunction with the 2030 plan, and now we're moving to district sessions. The schedules were released via many avenues, and our first one is in Council District 1. They progress numerically, and that will be on May the 29th at Heritage Hall, 303 Williams Boulevard. Doors open at 7:15. Meeting begins at 7:30, and I just wanted to put it out there that although all the meetings are open to the public, we're trying to get a more focused group specific to the districts, trying to make them in a little smaller setting.
Okay, and you'll be keeping us advised as to, periodically updating us as to when and where, right?
I'll probably make the announcements monthly as the meetings will progress monthly. I can give the schedule right now. District 1 is May the 29th. District 2, June the 26th. District 3, July 24th. District 4, August 28th. District 5, September 25th.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Newton. And now, is there anyone who can address the questions that Mr. Morello had, or is it legal, strictly up to legal? No. Okay. You're told you were out of the room? Okay, well, I would, as far as, this council cannot answer those questions. It's up to the legal and administration to address them because I don't think any of us have the answers ourselves. So, Councilman Reyno just suggested you put that request in writing and give it to the legal department. I know that goes over like a ton of bricks. Councilman Carroll, get me off the hook here. Come here. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I wish I could at this, but actually I was going to address what you just said, that let's be clear that we're not avoiding the question.
No,
We're at the council.
that's what I'm trying to
And Mr.
explain to
Morello,
him.
questions, if there a way to get that answered, then we should go forward with that, either in writing, either legal, or whatever we have to do, because he did ask the question.
And it should be answered.
So that's what I wanted to make sure that Mr. Morello is he satisfied with our answers?
Of course he's not.
You're not.
But a lot of it is litigation, Al, so they can't discuss it openly, but perhaps, would someone speak with Mr. Morello after the meeting? We have the city attorney who was going to speak to you personally, one-on-one, just you and him. Okay. Hearing no other discussion, we have a motion to adjourn.